Welcome to episode 1 of my complete beginner series to Elden Ring. My goal with this series is to get you set up and in a good place without having to cheese the system. So you won't be running halfway across the map to backstab a dragon and get 100,000 runes right off the start or anything stupid like that. If that is what you want, this is not the video for you. Elden Ring is an incredible open world adventure and I'm going to do as little spoiling as I possibly can. I just want to make sure you're set up to succeed and enjoy this amazing game. So let's jump right in. There are many different classes to pick from, all with their strengths and weaknesses. Some are more suited to start off as a two-handed lumbering warrior, others a mage. For us, we want to start with the Confessor. This is a well-rounded character that starts off with a great shield and some points into faith for spells. We are going to build ourselves a paladin, more or less. Though we're focusing on a shield, there will absolutely be room for two-handed weapons and lots of holy spells. None of the character customizations matter, make the character look however you'd like. And don't worry, you will be able to change the look of your character for free and basically whenever you want. After that, we'll be choosing our Keepsake. Everything you see on this list can be obtained in-game, so you're not missing out on anything. More or less, these items are just there to give you a little boost at the beginning. I, like most people, choose the Golden Seed. This will give us an extra heal flask right off the bat. But as you come to endgame, you aren't going to have one more than someone who didn't pick it, so it just really doesn't matter. Also to note, as you go through the game, you will be able to respec, so if you decide this build isn't for you, that's fine, you can respec it later. Go ahead and create your character. You'll be hit with some cinematics. Enjoy them. They're great. The story in this game is actually pretty good. You'll start out in a church of sorts. Feel free to explore, look around. There's nothing you can miss here. It's just part of the intro. When you wake up in some water, that's where the real game begins. You'll notice a big hole on your right. You want to jump down there, that's where the tutorial is. Take your time and learn the buttons, you will need to master these skills. I do want to highlight a couple of things taught here. Get used to blocking. Blocked attacks reduce your stamina instead of health. You don't want your stamina to get to 0 because then you'll be staggered. Your stamina also more slowly regens when the shield is out and being used, so you'll want to keep it at your side to regen stamina and put it up when you need. Take time to survey an area, and always look up. Guard counters are going to be your bread and butter for quite a while. Learn them, love them. We will also be using dodging when there's some bigger skills that you really can't block, so be sure to know where the dodge button is. After the tutorial, head up the stairs and you'll find a site of grace. You'll also see this smoky door next to it. This is a locked door currently. The two little gargoyles there, you actually need to put stone's word keys into their heads to open it up. We'll come back to this later. You don't need to worry about it. Continue moving forward until you get outside. As soon as you step out, you'll find another site of grace and an NPC directly next to it. Now, if you're unsure if it's an enemy or a friendly NPC, just try to target it. If you cannot target it, it's probably friendly. Rest at the grace site and you'll notice something a little bit different with this one. The grace seems to be pointing you in the direction you should go. Checking your map, you can see the same thing. In this case, it seems like it wants us to head to that church. Before you run off, chat up the NPC and always talk to NPCs until they start repeating themselves. Turn around, head down the rocks and you'll find this summoning statue, grab the item from it, and then head up to the church. You'll likely see a large golden knight riding a horse. You'll want to avoid him. After you grab the grace site at the church, head over and interact with the anvil. Here you'll be able to upgrade your weapon to a +3, assuming you have the material, of course. Don't go too hog wild on this just yet, but if you find a weapon you like, don't be afraid to upgrade it. After that, chat with the merchant and be sure to listen to all he has to say. He'll give the recommendation of buying a crafting kit, and you absolutely want to. We should have enough runes from the tutorial to buy that alongside the torch. He also sells some other really great items, and we will be back to buy more stuff. Next, we'll open up the map and check the direction of grace. You'll notice this time there's another symbol on the map. Mark it because you're going to want to go there. As you head off in that direction, you'll find some wandering knights. These guys really shouldn't give you much trouble. Feel free to take them out any way you like. I would recommend practicing at least a little bit of stealth. You'll find it rather beneficial to stealth around and thin the numbers before everyone gets alerted. As you're taking these guys out, be sure to listen for this sound. It comes from a scarab pushing a colored ball. Killing a red one will give you a charge of your HP flask, blue ones will do FP, but the silver ones will actually drop items. As you get close to the marker, be sure to stop and assess the situation before you. Looks like we got a whole bunch of guards, maybe some item near the post, and oh, a site of grace. Always go for the site of grace. Now, even if you don't need to sit and rest at this one.
Greetings.
After listening to your visitor, you can either accept or reject her offer. Given she's the only way you can level up and also gives you a mode of travel, we're gonna accept. Upon accepting, you're given the ability to summon torrents. You're also given a quick snippet on pouches. These are just quick access bags, so you definitely want to have torrent in there. Go ahead, pull him out. Notice he has a double jump, which is amazing. This is literally the best way to get around and the easiest way to avoid enemies, so get used to him. You can even pick up items while you're on him, so it's just a quick grab and go. So while we're here, we're gonna practice a little bit. Jump on torrent and just start riding around those ruins, double jumping, dodging, going everywhere. You'll find it's pretty easy to get around and you're basically invincible. Be sure to pick up the item that's sitting by the pedestal. It's a map fragment and it'll reveal part of the map for you. At some point you'll probably notice some stairs heading down. Follow them down. In a chest at the bottom, we'll find our first Ash of War and a Whetstone. Ashes of War are just abilities you can apply to your weapons. You can apply them as many times as you want for free. However, if you have it applied to one weapon, it needs to be removed before you try to apply it to another weapon. And not only does it give your weapons abilities, it gives you the opportunity to change their affinities. Meaning that weapon that scales really good with strength could now scale with dex depending on which Ash of War you put on it. Eventually, we'll be able to scale our weapons with faith if we choose. Finish up practicing riding around and now head back to that point of grace. Head the direction the grace indicates and be sure to survey the area as you move forward. You'll see a whole bunch of barricades and guards, but if you look up, you'll see something special. Given our newfound companion, we'll be able to run by these guys without any issue. At the top, you'll see a glowing tree. Grab the item there, we'll use it soon. Continue along the path and... oh no, an ambush! But given you're on torrent or you could summon him instantly, you can just run away from these guys. Just up ahead and around the corner, there's a site of grace. Jump off and touch it real quick. If you decide to fight and kill them all, you'll learn that sometimes when killing a group of enemies, your flask will get recharged a little. It is not something to rely on. If it happens, awesome, but do not expect it. At that point of grace, be sure to talk to your maiden. Also go to the tab called Flasks and use the seeds you have. Once you finish talking, we'll explore the area around us. There will be an item and an NPC. The item's a Stone's Word key. This is to open the fog areas like the one we saw at the very beginning. And the NPC is Roderica. She'll grant you a jellyfish summon which we'll be able to use soon. Head back and look at the point of grace and see which direction you need to travel next. It seems to double back, but as you look at the map, you'll see that the path does too, so just continue following it around. At the top of the path, you'll hear this. You know what to do. Then as you survey the area, you'll see you're at the foot of the castle with a ton of guards and a ballista way up there at the top. Feel free to practice your combat here. Probably best to stealthily take out as many as you can before they're all alerted. If you get overwhelmed, jump on your horse and ride away. Also remember your spells. We do have two, Urgent Heal and Assassin's Approach. Assassin's Approach makes your footsteps silent and reduces fall damage. Urgent Heal is a little more intriguing. You'll start to get into situations where your health isn't low enough to use a flask, but you still want to heal, but you don't want to waste that flask. That's when I use this spell instead. I use it to heal myself and it just consumes some FP. Get used to quickly switching between your shield and talisman and casting spells and then swapping back. Whatever you do, make your way into the castle and sit at the grace point. Again, check to see if someone wants to talk to you, and then make your way along the tunnel and be sure to activate the summoning pool there. You will also see a gold summon there on the ground. If you interact with it, you'll summon an NPC to come and aid you. You can probably guess what happens next, but continue through the doorway. Now, if you defeated him on your first go, then this guide might not be for you. Likely you're ending up back at the point of grace and seeing that that doorway is now covered in yellow. This is the first boss of the main story, and we are not prepared. Elden Ring will do this a few times, bait you into an area, drop a boss on you, and close the doors behind. At the time of making this video, you can actually get your runes out of there. What you do is run in there, grab your runes, run away from him, go into your menu, quit game. When you load back into the game, you'll be just outside the room with your runes. If you're watching this and it isn't working, sorry, but they were lost anyway. Anyhow, go back and sit at the grace, and your maiden will come talk to you about the round table. You definitely want to accept this invitation. This is a non-combat zone filled with NPCs to talk to. Go around and talk to them all until they repeat themselves. I do have a few key things I want to point out. When you find the merchant, buy the mace. If you don't have enough runes, come back later and do this. That merchant also sells some other really good stuff like a memory stone, which we'll come back later for, along with a blue cipher ring and a white cipher ring. These are great if you're interested in the whole PvP invading aspect. If not, you can ignore them. The smith here can upgrade your weapons past +3. This lady here just wants a hug.
Great champion, would you allow me to hold you? But briefly, perhaps you might share with me some of your lively vigor and your stout-heartedness.
Doing so, you'll get a Baldachin's blessing. Baldakin. bald chin, you get a blessing. The item will boost your poise in exchange for FP, making you harder to stagger. However, you'll get a constant 5% HP debuff until you use it. That's what that red square is up at the top. To remove it, you just need to use the blessing and then it'll wear off. In this same room, there's a mirror that'll let you change your appearance as many times as you want, so feel free to do that whenever. Last place I want to mention is the balcony. If you look down there's a lot of blood spots. There's nothing worth it right now, so unless you either have 0 runes or really want to die, I wouldn't recommend it. We will come back to it later. Once everyone's repeating themselves over and over, hit your map button and we're going to fast travel back to the first step where we saw the guy in the white mask. Chat him up, listen to everything he has to say.
Oh, well done.
Next, we want to head to the church where the merchant is, but we want to fast travel. Yes, I know it's like a 20-second ride, but trust me, fast travel there. Upon arriving, you'll see it's nighttime and there's someone to talk to.
This way, Tarnished. May I have a word?
And you'll want to be sure to tell her the truth. Honestly, you'll almost always want to pick the top dialogue option. She will give you a bell that will let you summon spirits. She also gives you the wolf summon, which is really good. Now to note, you can only summon these when you see this icon on the left side of your screen. So toss the summon in your quick access pouch and watch for that icon. I'd say a good 95% of the bosses let you summon spirits, so do it. And when you're finished, go chat up the merchant. And that's it. Your goal now is to get strong enough to beat that boss. To give you a little bit of perspective, you should probably be about 35 to beat him. But don't worry, there is tons and tons of stuff for you to do. From here, you just need to go out and explore. I would recommend grabbing a pen and paper and putting it next to you, because you will find other NPCs and there is no quest log, so you may want to take a note or two when you're talking to them. And be sure to check every nook and cranny. Things are hiding everywhere here. Also, remember that mace we bought? You'll find some enemies are far more susceptible to blunt damage than slashing, so be sure to try different weapons on different enemies. My one big recommendation would be sure to stay inside Limgrave, Mistwood, Stormhill, and Weeping Peninsula. If you end up in Lakes of Luernia, Dragonbarrow, Caelid, Sophia River, turn back. Not only are those areas too high for you, but you could potentially screw up some of the storylines. The map I'm showing here is from Fextra Life's wiki, linked down below in the description. If you don't want to be spoiled by things, don't delve too deeply into this site. But it really is a great resource if there's anything you're questioning or just looking for a little bit of assistance. My next video is going to be the key places you really need to visit to build out your paladin. We'll go into detail about the places we need to visit and the things we need to get, along with where we want to allocate our stats. But until then, go out, explore, and really enjoy this game. It's a ton of fun.